Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing how to propagate dahlias from cuttings. Very easy. These, I don't know the variety. My neighbor is letting me go to her garden and take some cuttings. I asked her and she said it was okay. The little ones that look like balls are buds that are going to be ready to open. I didn't see any that were ready to deadhead, so I could show you a picture of that or what they looked like. But all of these are brand new. She planted these from the tubers, and that one was one of the ones that first bloomed, the one at the bottom, so he looks kind of wilted. So whenever you're getting a cutting from this, these are the leaves. You're not going to want to use the leaves. You're going to want to find stems, like the side shoots, not the ones at the very top with the flowers on it. So you're going to want to find one without buds and without flowers. So like this one right here is perfect. A little too short, but it will be okay. So whenever you're wanting to do cuttings, you're going to want to get more than one, because if you just get one and it doesn't work out, you're going to be disappointed because it's going to take a while for them to grow. You're going to want to get nice and clean pruners or scissors, whatever you want to use, and just clip it right off. And then after that, I put it in a cold bucket of water. So you're not going to want to just leave this out because it's going to scab over that little open cuticle, and then it's not going to work. And then whenever you're doing the cuttings, you're going to want to put them in like a greenhouse effect. And if you don't have a greenhouse, I use my vinegar jugs that are empty and clean, or I use the milk jugs. I've seen people use milk jugs. I like the vinegar bottles just because that's what's worked for me, and that's how I propagated my hardy hibiscus. So I'm going to be doing the same thing. And you're going to want to make sure that they're not seeing the sun. They need to see the sunlight without the sun seeing it, right? Because they're going to fry in that container. Then this one is really good. This one's really long, perfect. I was trying to find more like that, but again, these are still new plants. And she could cut these down a little bit and then they'll bush out more. Sorry for the angles and my finger in the way. My tripod couldn't get inside to where I was cutting, so I had to hold the camera. And I just put the whole thing in my container. I liked how some of them have the white tips and some of them are just all pink. I really like that. So whenever you're taking a cutting from a mother plant, because this is what you would consider a mother plant, you're going to want to make sure it doesn't have any disease or any problems with it, because if it does, the plants that you're making from the cuttings are going to have that same issue. So now we're up in my office and I'm taking all of the little cuttings that I just took, and I don't wait any time. I take the cuttings, take the bucket, and then I bring them upstairs to my office. I would do it outside, but it's, again, July, and then it's 1,000,000 degrees. So went upstairs to the air conditioner and laying these all out. And whenever you're doing these, you're going to want to take off all the big leaves on the side and all the extra, they look like stems, but they're not. Those are just the leaves. And this one broke. See, this is why you get more than one cutting for this reason. It might still grow. It might not, but that's okay. The longer ones, they will. So again, I'm taking all these off, and if they had bigger leaves on that top stem, I would have cut those down, but since they were already small, I didn't even worry about cutting those in half like I did when I did my hardy hibiscus. So then I'm going to be using that rooting hormone, and it's the Root Boost. Rooting hormone is what I use, and it says contains Hormidin 1 is what I use, and I just buy this from Amazon. They sell it at like hardware stores. I've seen it at Home Depot before, and whenever you use that, you're going to want to make sure that you're pouring it into a dish or a cup or somewhere else and not dipping straight into that little container, because you could bring in bacteria and fungus and parasites, and then it would ruin your other cuttings. And then whenever I am putting these in that vinegar container, I'm putting them in tiny pots that I've gotten from nurseries from other plants. I always keep my other nursery pots just for projects or anything else I need them for. And then I use the peat moss and vermiculite and perlite. But you're going to want to have more perlite and more vermiculite than you do peat moss, because you don't want your cuttings to stay soggy and wet, because they will rot. I'm using the scissors to make little holes inside these little pots so that the rooting hormone stays on the stems. It doesn't get brushed off when you poke it into the dirt or the mixture that I made. And you don't want to use any type of dirt that you find outside, because that just has bacteria and parasites in it, and that's just going to kill your plant. So you want to have a sterile medium. I've seen some people just solely do perlite or vermiculite. I've even some people do it in sand. I've never tried that. I've always done it with some of the peat moss. And then I'm just dipping it right in, giving it a good cover. You don't have to be stingy with it. And I'm putting 3 in each. Some people might just put 1 in each container, but I wanted to do 3 since they were smaller, and I can separate them later after they grow the roots. And then I will be putting the water in there, trying not to make a giant mess in my office. And then after I water these in, I'm going to be putting a little bit of water in that bottom of that vinegar bottle, and then I will be putting it on my back deck where it can get shade and some sunlight, but the sun cannot see the container. Again, you don't want the container to be able to see the sun. It needs to see sunlight, but never facing straight at the sun. It will fry. And then I tape this up, and I'm going to be waiting. I'm going to see what it looks like after a month, but I like to sneak peeks, especially since it's kind of see-through. You can kind of see through it, but I won't be opening it. I'll just wait for a month and see what it looks like. And then I'll be doing an updated video on that one. And then I do have a dahlia in the back, and then once that one grows some more, I will be taking cuttings from that one too. And that's the end of today's video, just a quick and easy propagating from cuttings. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.